All right. Welcome, everybody, to our conversation this evening with Camille Leon, who is the CEO of the Global Holistic Chamber of Commerce. And we're very excited to have her on our call tonight. And what I wanted to say was that we're calling this particular call now get to know your HCC membership, because when we do these every other month, we want you to people who are either members or somebody looking to become a member or just curious about us. We want you to come on the call and ask questions. And we just want to, we want to let you know what you're in for when you become a member of the Holistic Chamber. And so tonight's conversation with Camille is called Building a Movement, Not Just a Chamber. And I am going to pass the conversation over to Becky Holbert, who is our chamber ambassador. So, Becky, take it away.
Thank you, Karen. It's good to see everybody this evening. I love to speak to people, and I get an excellent chance tonight to speak to Camille Leon. Very excited to do this. And Camille, you've done such a wonderful job in creating a space where holistic professionals are acknowledged, respected, and brought into a larger professional conversation. So before we get into the structure of the chamber, I'd love to start with you and the origin story, why the Holistic Chamber exists. How did you bring this into existence?
First, so thank you. Thank you for having me. This was your idea, and it was such a great idea. And you gave me such a great little outline. By the way, I will just use this moment to say it's a very full, packed outline. There's a good chance we won't actually cover everything, but we will do our best to at least touch on all of the things you have here. All right, so the origin is I used to work in a corner office in downtown LA. Uh, Not quite the heart of the evil empire, but pretty close. And if you're not sure that, I should just tell you, we didn't have just one Starbucks underneath our building. There was actually four different Starbucks, one at each corner of the building.
Mhm.
So I was highly caffeinated and stressed a lot of the time. And there were some health problems with my mother and my grandmother. So that writing was on the wall. And I went to my coworkers and I said, "Can you refer me to an acupuncturist?" And
Okay.
they looked at me like, like, what? Is that covered by our
Exactly.
insurance? And don't they use needles? Like, why would you go to something that is not covered by your insurance? As a matter of fact,
Right.
it's not covered by your insurance. Are you sure it's legit? And then why would you also choose needles? Because it doesn't matter what kind of a doctor you're going to. I don't know too many people who are really excited about needles. Well, yeah. Um, so that was like the first seed for we could use a directory, but not just a direct, like not another free direct, even back then. And this was back in, it was prior to the official start. So this was really back in like 2006.
Oh,
And back then there were not a bunch of directories. Directories are now probably a dime a dozen. Um, but at the time, there were just no directory resources. And even now, I can tell you the freebies that are out there, they are chock full of not the best of us, right?
gotcha. Yeah, that
Um,
can happen.
and when you're making a referral, so we make referrals to consumers, many of
Hmm.
whom are mainstream, so they respond to that brand name of Holistic Chamber of Commerce. Oh, Chamber of Commerce, this is legit. These people are legit, right?
Hmm.
Um, So that was side one. Seed one, kind of business to consumer. How do we make these connections?
Right.
How do we get people in the door of all of our holistic healing and wellness professionals? And then seed number two was we actually had a meeting of professionals, holistically aligned professionals, and it became really clear that many of them were not very good at being in business. Just because you're a good
Gotcha.
healer does not make you
Yes.
good at being in business. I mean, frankly, you go to a lot of these schools and get your certifications,
Hmm.
but
Exactly.
it's a
And they're not
minimum
learning.
amount of this is how you be successful in business, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then you're working alone, many of us alone in a home office. So
Hmm.
we're isolated, that sense of gotta do it. So that was where the second side of the HCC came about. It's not just how do we connect more consumers with holistic approaches, but it's also how do we stay supported? The busier we get, the more supported we have to be.
Right. It's interesting you say that because one of the questions sometimes we hear from people in the community is, well, we're not a holistic practice, but we are a holistic minded business. In other words, a business owner can be in a retail space
Yep,
or they're a business consultant, but they follow the modalities of a holistic lifestyle.
yep.
And being around other holistic practitioners, it's almost like they say, well, can I still join? And you just hit the nail right on the head by stating exactly what the intention was to surround ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's holistically. So I use terms like holistically minded, holistically aligned. Um,
Mhm.
Here's the thing, in a holistic world, it's not just what are my health and wellness preferences. It's also, am I financially fit?
Right.
Because if I'm not financially fit, I might still be living in in an unsafe household. So I don't know. I mean, some of you have probably heard me say this, but some of you maybe have not. Um, I've known women and children trapped in, right, unsafe,
Yes.
abusive households. And
Right.
some of that is mindset, right?
Hmm.
Which is also holistically aligned, but some of it is not really their mindset. They just don't think they can afford to move.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I'm a financial strategist myself and an educator. And one of the biggest things that I work with clients is having that initial conversation is to make sure that we're helping them to see a mindset when it comes to how your money touches everything. And it's as simple as, instead of, you want to release the fear that people have in front of that,
Yep.
and getting that happy factor to say, if I don't have the fear, by releasing that, I'm shifting my mindset into more clarity. I'm releasing that tension from the fear and impacting with clarity and being able to see and receive information that can help everybody be better. So I love that. I love that that was something that drove you.
Yep. And so I will also say, in that world of holistically minded business owners, right? We have had landscapers who have been members. Landscapers. Now, there are a variety of ways that landscapers show up. Some of them use toxin free, right? Toxin free fertilizer,
Right.
um, toxin free ways to, I mean, I don't think the term toxin-free pesticide, that's probably not, but right, toxin-free ways to reduce the number of bugs on your property. Um, I've heard that peppermint oil works with ants.
Yes. And
Um,
orange oil and hemp oil are very, hemp oil is actually a natural repellent. It's the only plant in the plant universe that has all the terpenes available to the entire plant kingdom.
yeah, so I really think the more we can look at somebody and say, yes, come on in. yes, we would love to get to know you better because the more we're getting to know them, the more they're getting to know us. And it is a little bit, by the way, it's not just it's a lot about variety.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
our groups, our groups that are all holistic practitioners, they're not as healthy as our groups that have a mix,
Okay.
right?
I
Um, yeah, the more
no,
you have that mix, really the healthier it is. And we do want to be as inclusive as we can be.
hmm, that's a great lead into my next question to you. When you talk about all of this, I'm seeing and hearing your vision and your impact that you want to have, and the impact that, what do you ultimately hope that the Holistic Chamber has? Because it's not just for practitioners, but for the communities and families who rely on these services, or maybe are looking into a more holistic approach to their life and want to get away and deal more with the functional medicine side, um, and giving them that, the light that shines on it. I mean, is where do you hope that impact really goes?
So, oh, I should have moved. So I have a map of the US that is right over here. If I
Yep.
had really been thinking, I might have put it right back here, but okay, it is what it is. Um, First part of the vision, cover the US, coast to
Okay.
coast. And can we say coast to coast? Well, we have some members in California, we have members in South Carolina, obviously, Florida, a few groups in the middle, but like coast to coast, like full coast to coast,
Right.
right?
All
Every
four corners.
state, and certainly, um, I don't, by the way, I love the idea of the larger cities, but when I look at a lot of the places where we're really having some success, it's smaller cities, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I think people are kind of getting, big cities have an appeal for some people, and, it's a hub. But I think the real growth, the real people that are interested in healthier lifestyles, they want to stay in small towns. They want to keep things a little bit more familiar, if you will. Sometimes the city
yeah,
can get too much.
yeah. So now did that answer? Oh, so the bigger vision. Now so it is called the Holistic Chamber of Commerce,
Hmm.
not the American Holistic Chamber of Commerce, not the Canadian Holistic Chamber of Commerce, not the North American right?
Right.
And that is partially, but in the world of holistic health and wellness, it's goes beyond the borders,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's
right?
interesting you say that, because when you talk about that and this expansion, if you were to look 5 or 10 years ahead, what does that look like for this organization?
So 5 or 10 years ahead. So certainly in 3 years,
Hmm.
we have members and chapters groups in every single state, including Alaska and Hawaii.
Wow. I didn't realize that. That's amazing.
In
That's
three
amazing.
years.
Yeah.
In 5 years, we also have groups in Canada,
Wow.
right? Now, obviously, I think it's obvious to me, might not to everybody else. If somebody from Canada were to say, I want to start a group now, I would find a way to say yes, right?
Right.
We do already, by the way, have members in other countries. We have members in other countries. We're
Wow.
not hosting groups outside of the US and Canada yet. Lessons learned when you're starting a business is that other countries have different laws.
Right.
Other countries have different legal systems. Other countries have different regulations around, haha, this is use of the term Chamber of Commerce, right?
Right.
So we can bring in members from all over the globe. And as I said, we do have members in other countries right now. But I think in 10 years, we're really present
Yes.
all
I
over the
love that.
globe and in other countries, right?
I
Uh,
love that.
so that's it. And so that's the vision. So the impact is Joe Schmo and his wife Jane Schmain. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter where they are, they can find a holistic professional, a product or a service that is holistically aligned wherever they are, whatever they are looking for. Not, oh, I can't find a chiropractor near me. I'm just gonna, oh, look, there's a drugstore on the corner. Let me just pop in and get another pill to take.
Right. We want to stop that. We want to stop that.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying, by the way, so there's nothing wrong with pills, and I'm not saying, that we're ever going to put the kibosh on all prescription medications. But I am saying the more we can give people awareness, education, and then access to holistic approaches and techniques and specialties and products and services to those holistically aligned providers, the better off the world is in so many different ways. All right, so one problem that sometimes comes up in our personal lives and sometimes comes up in our business lives is relationships. Relationships gone sideways, whether it's family or coworkers, right? Um, you can't fix your relationships by taking another pill. There's not a pill for fixing relationships. You have abandonment issues, you have commitment issues. Sorry, just speaking about my past self. You're a recovering control freak. There are not pills for fixing those things, right?
Right.
That is how do I find a coach or a healing professional, whether it's a Reiki master or an essential oils, right? That can help with those kinds of emotional concerns and issues that get in the way of creating the life we want to live or our favorite life or our best life or whatever you want to call that life you're trying to create for yourself.
Right. Right. So we've been spending a couple of minutes talking about the big picture. I mean, it is the International
Yeah.
Holistic Chamber. So I want to kind of bring it back down to because you've built something with the national and the international reach, but we're finding that with the local, we want to start powering locally. In other words, because that's how we build for the
Yeah.
larger picture. So, how can local chapters best support the greater chamber's visibility, credibility, and influence?
So this is a great question. There are multiple answers to it, but local groups are largely about what's going on locally, right?
Okay. Right. The
Um,
individual, right.
right? I can't be there all the time.
Right.
So it is about membership. It's about, looking at on some level, it's looking at the categories. Do we
Hmm.
have a chiropractor? Do we have an acupuncturist? Do we
Hmm.
have an essential oils specialist? Do we have heck, do we have a landscaper? Right.
Right.
Do we have so I just found that we have a member who's they're a cleaning company, house cleaning company, right? Um,
Right.
do we have a water, what do you call them? Oh, water filter
Filtration.
provider,
Hmm.
provider?
Hmm.
Um, so it's looking at the categories and saying, have we filled all the basic categories? So when somebody in Hilton Head or when somebody in Bluffton or somebody in Ridgeland comes to the HCC website, are they
Mhm.
going to be able to find this service or this product close to them? Because a lot of holistic services are in person.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can't get acupuncture over Zoom. Sorry,
Right.
boys and girls, you're going to have to go in and they're going to stick a needle in you.
Yeah.
Now, right, I know there is a lot that can be provided
Mhm.
online, and that is really great and that's really wonderful. But also, I think if you want to connect with your local community and increase your visibility
Right.
with your local community, then it's creating the hub. So in a lot of ways, so I have started really calling our chapters, our groups, the local hub or community hotspots, right? And
Okay.
that's the more members a group has, the more visible it's going to be. Look, you guys are out, you guys, but this group has been particularly good about getting out there and participating in community service. And it's not always we're the instigators of that community service. Somebody else has created the service project, and you're just saying, we're going to show up. We're going to show up
Right.
and let people know that there is a professional organization that is filled with holistically aligned, right, professionals, practitioners, business owners, wellness providers, because that's how people learn that there are other options. And
Right.
they need to know that. Otherwise, there's another drugstore on the next
Right.
corner down, right? There's a nice big hospital right over there, right?
Well,
So,
that's
yeah.
no, I'm sorry. It brings up the interesting point. It was something that I also wanted to talk about a little bit because, in getting to know the membership, there's usually intention and purpose that we see. So you bring up an excellent point here that mainstream integration, healthcare, um, policies, we're in a very interesting time right now because we have,
Sorry.
well,
What?
yeah,
Interesting.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But in terms of healthcare, we have some very prominent members of the current administration who are much more intentional with creating more healthy lifestyles and moving from pharmaceuticals. And when we talk about that, one of the things that I always like to see with the holistic chamber is how we are not just connecting and helping each other's businesses, but that we become a stronger voice together. And I just wonder, how can we, as holistic chamber members, even locally, um, kind of leverage, if you will, this increased awareness to educate and not divide and to bring holistic modalities into the conversation in a more grounded, practical way. I see a lot of the medical field moving away from the traditional health insurance model and moving into concierge services. And I think that's where I'm talking about when we see things starting to move away. Like, at what point do we take advantage of that to expound on concierge services? Now you don't have to think about, is insurance covering it? You're free to pay a doctor and talk to them about how you want to be treated. And I just wondered how we, as the local chapters, and how that kind of rolls up to the larger, the main chamber, you guys, and how we can help kind of push that movement forward a little bit.
So, we've got two threads going in all of that great exposition. So there is, I'm just gonna hold on to. One of the threads is how do we tap in
hmm
locally and help our local community, the people who live near here, whether it's in the city or in the county or frankly in the state or the local, right? How do we help the people near us become aware?
Right.
And there is some forward movement in the US in
hmm
the world of awareness. Now, talking too much, without talking too much about politics,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. That's
think
what, yeah.
so. The stickiness is politics is a divisive arena. So that actually is part of the reason why the local presence is so important. Some people will look at the politics of it and they will turn away, and it will have nothing to do with the quality of what is being promoted. It will have to do with something that, yeah,
Yeah.
something that is
I,
not related to health and wellness. Your health and wellness is, so this is great, right?
right.
People are
I,
becoming much more aware about don't eat the highly processed foods, right?
Right, right. And I think it's beholden to us to be fair, and it's a practice I try and move through. My personal is nothing to do with the holistic practice and
That's
being
right.
positive and progressing towards something. We can remove that conversation piece of it by staying centered and focused on the message of health and wellness.
And
And
that's it.
yeah.
The more you are talking about the positive actions that we can take,
hmm
right? The We can drink more water. We can drink more tea. We can eat healthier foods, which, by the way, I mean, doesn't everybody know that eating a balanced diet is good, right? So, and you can go to an acupuncturist or a chiropractor or start using essential oil. So you'll see that most of our posts and the
hmm
articles that we host on our website are talking about what you can do,
hmm
what your options are. We don't spend time on what you should or shouldn't do
hmm
because I want people going to see all of you no matter what they've done in the past. I mean, whether they're frankly, there are tons of people who know and are aware that they're taking more pills than they want to, right?
Right,
Especially
right.
aging adults who, right,
Yeah.
or we'll just say middle-aged adults who are looking at what their parents are taking, right? And they're like, how do we how do we stay healthy? How do we reduce the number of these medications while still staying healthy and maybe even building our immune system? Um, so I do think social media helps with that. Uh, we have we have on our website some article sections. One, by the way, is about business growth so that our business support members, our members that are focused on supporting businesses, can be posted in that section. And then we have a health and wellness section for all of our members that are really doing things that are related to health, wellness, lifestyle. Um, and that is for so many reasons, but partially because consumers
hmm
take Chamber of Commerce seriously, right? It raises the reputation. One of the things that's down on my list here, right, is how do we move past the old reputation?
hmm
And
Yeah. And
part
that's
of
why I
that
say
is,
we were leading into that. So I
yeah,
love that you're
so it's
starting that.
participating with these professional organizations. Um,
hmm
okay, so there is, while we're talking about this, integrating with the mainstream, right? Um,
hmm
the other thing that is really part of this whole conversation, and I don't want to neglect it, is so I don't think of us as being in competition with each other, by the way. We're on the same team. There are other organizations that are also on the same team. This morning, we had Anna Pereira from the Wellness Universe as our featured member on the Business Masterclass, right? Some people would look at our two organizations and go, well, aren't you doing the same thing? And we would say, you know what? We're on the same team. There's definitely overlap, but
Right.
we're not competing with each other. So in the world of competition and in the world of we want to have some impact on policy, and we do. And that is, it doesn't matter who's in office. We want to have impact on policy.
Right.
But I consider, from my point of view, for the HCC, if we have competition, it's the AMA. It's the American Medical Association. So I don't want to scare you with this, but I want everybody here and everybody in our tribe to be aware, right? The AMA has 282,000 members. 282,000 members, okay?
Right.
The US policymakers, they're looking at number of members. Now, because of the past reputation of holistic practitioners, right? That old label, it is good for it to be a professional organization.
Yeah.
It is, right.
Yeah.
But it is number of members.
Right. Well, advocating, like, how are we, I guess one of the things that I love about the international is the website. There is a lot of stuff on there because there's a lot of us out here that we want to advocate. We want to maintain a professional, practical, evidence-based.
Yep.
So that it's not without giving up the heart of the work that we do. And of course, there's belief systems built around some of those practices, but in order to really get people, like, it's not about making people believe in, Reiki healing or energy work, but it's more about that functional medicine so it's almost like, how do we get rid of the woohoo label without losing the heart of what we are?
So part of that is that we recognize that there is a place for even some of I use the term esoteric, by the way. Okay. Does it mean airy fairy? I don't think it could. But when you say esoteric, people think it's serious, right? They hear that word differently. But I think no matter what you do, you take it seriously. You join a professional organization, right? Also, though, you have integrity around what you do. So whether or not you are governed by HIPAA laws, for example, you pay attention to HIPAA laws and you keep confidentiality when you are talking about your clients, right? Now, you can in many cases still use testimonials from your clients, and you can find ways to get your clients to give you a testimonial so that you have that, reference. People want to see that you are trusted, but I also think you're dependable. So you show up when and where you say you're going to show up. And frankly, that also includes, like, oh gosh, I thought I was gonna have 100 people show up, but only 50 people showed up, right? Or I thought I was gonna have 20 people showed up and only 10 people. I don't care how many people showed up. you show up, you be there for them. You
Mhm.
say, I'm here. I love, heck, I, we've been around for 15 years. So we'll just be honest. Way back in the day, I
Mhm.
had times when I thought I was going to have 20 people showed up and two showed up. Like,
Right.
um, life happens, traffic happens, people have bad days. But if you want people to take you seriously and start to trust you, especially if you are in a health and wellness arena,
Yeah.
like why is the Kaiser Permanente? Why is Kaiser successful? Because I know when I go to the doctor, there's going to be a doctor there to see me, right?
Right. Right.
Um, I've seen a holistic uh, medicine, functional medicine practitioners who, oh, well, I'm going on vacation, so I'm shutting my whole office down for the week or 2 weeks. I'm not going to be able to see any of my clients. What are you thinking they're going to do for those 2 weeks?
Right.
Are you
Right.
suggesting that they go to the drugstore and get a pill to see them through until you get back in town?
Mm.
Or are you comfortable enough with the other people in your category that are in your city to say, while I'm out of town, can I send my people to you if something comes up, right? Um,
Right.
does that does that
It
answer
does.
your
It
question?
does. It does. And you know what? I kind of want to I want to kind of just close it out before we open it up for questions here because you've stepped into it and I love this. Thank you so much for helping me tell this story. Um, when you talk about it's almost relying on others to help the businesses going. So it gives me the questions about legacy and longevity, like beyond the founder. What you've clearly been building something bigger than one person. And how does the holistic chamber continue to grow and evolve and lead even beyond yourself? What do you hope members will say about the organization?
Well, certainly. Okay. Well, what I hope members will say, and frankly, what I also hope our audience says, because our audience goes beyond our members, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and I hope they all say, this organization is making a difference.
Hmm.
Uh, this organization is connecting more people. I mean, yes, in business you use the term consumer. They're people, folks.
Yes.
This
People, people,
organization,
people. Yep.
right?
People, people, people. Yep.
We are making those connections, but I also hope that they are saying, you know what, this is a safe space where we can talk about the realities of being in business, right?
Hmm.
We
Right.
can talk about the messiness of it. And it's safe to say not every day is a good day. Um, I bounce back. I bounce back pretty quickly, thankfully, now, but that was not always the case. And if you had met me pre-holistic chamber of oh my gosh, yeah. Um, so I think that's part of it. And the other part of it is, our team here at headquarters is going through some changes now, but Lore, who is our community manager, she is still with us.
Oh,
Um,
great.
Garrett, whose name you never hear because he is our chief
Yeah.
technology officer, and he's like, don't talk to me unless it is about the underlying tech, right? He's still here. Um, we have, team members on kind of some of the more administrative areas. And so newest is we have somebody coming in who's going to step into member services in a new way and help uh, kind of side by side with me on some of the there's so many things that come up. There's so many little, oh, we've got a, oh God, and a new piece of paperwork and and there's bookkeeping to be done,
Yeah.
and record keeping to be organized. So we have that going on, and that is partially because we have a team. And yeah, and more information than you need. But every time I'm about to get on a plane, I
Hmm.
actually take another look at my will,
Ah, oh my
right?
goodness. Okay, funny.
Like,
Yeah.
who is this going to?
Hmm.
Is it going to
Exactly.
somebody that I can trust to at least transition it
Right.
to whoever the next CEO is? Um, and that is also a little bit about, the membership in terms
Hmm.
of number of members. It's also about the money of it, right?
Right.
Right. It's my passion, it's my purpose, which means I probably give a little bit more than I should if it were
Oh,
just a job to me. Not just a
right.
job to me, but whoever comes in next, well, whoever comes, the reality is nobody's going to take this position on if it's not part of their heart, right? But
Right.
we all still have bills to be paid.
Yes, this is true.
So, does that answer your question? I have one thing I
It does.
really want to say that has nothing really to do with any of this,
Please.
except that it is, so part of the early, so one of the early seeds or lessons in the world of, it's actually in the world of public presence. Okay.
Okay.
Um, in business, we use the term marketing.
Hmm.
In holistic circles, sometimes I use the word awareness or education, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I received an email with a flyer attached, and it was clearly for an in-person event. An
Okay.
in-person event. Somebody spent some time putting together a little email with a flyer attached for an in-person event, and it does not include the address.
Mm.
Does not include the address, nor does it say, so if you're doing some, by the way, if you're doing something at your home, then what it should say is register and we will send the address.
Right.
And by the way, it should still say the city. Because
Hmm.
if you're holding your event in Ridgeland, that is different than if you're holding your event on Hilton Head Island, right?
Absolutely it is.
I still want to know, how far am I driving?
Hmm.
Is parking going to be a hassle when I get there? Right. And I've got other events earlier in the day, later in the day. So how long is it going to take me to get there and get back? So, so we want to show up in a way that makes it easier for people to say yes. I can't say yes to that event. I either have to reply to them and say, well, where is this?
Mm.
Or I'm playing a guessing game, or I have to click to go to their website and maybe I'll be lucky and it's there, right? Um, Anyways, so that is a very personal, it's marketing. They are
Hmm.
losing out on people showing up because they didn't notice that they
Mm.
don't have that address. But that also part of the bigger picture as we come together, hey, can you just take a quick look at this flyer before I send it and
Hmm.
make sure that that I included everything. By the way, so I'm gonna, I had my horoscope this morning. I'm not gonna, it's just a silly little thing that I do. I'm not I'm not an astrologer, right? But it was a great horoscope this morning. It's really relevant. The more inclusive you are, the more people you'll know. the more people you know, the easier it is to connect with the person who will help you solve a problem.
Mhm.
And that is why we come together. It is why we come together locally in our hubs, our community hotspots, and it is why we come together online. Is because the more connected we are, the more we can help others, and the more others can help us, the easier it is to find the right person. Okay, I'm done now. Whatever's next, I'm here.
I appreciate that so much. I just kind of want to open it up to any questions. If anybody has any questions of Camille, please, now is the time. I mean, this was wonderful, and I'm so appreciative that you took the time. I think it's important and it's helpful for us, especially here in Bluffton, to be able to show and speak on what we love about what you created and getting to know you so that they can see the purpose that this is driving. And so, if anybody has any questions, you did
Apparently
such a
not.
wonderful job, Camille.
Right?
And that's
have
it. I mean,
question.
people are just blown away by everything I had to
Anne
say.
Marie
Wait,
has something.
Oh,
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say thank you, Camille, for all that you do. We moved from Seattle to Bluffton a couple of years ago, and Seattle is very progressive when it comes to holistic care. And so
yes,
that was the one thing I missed, even though I'm as happy as could be here, is it's just a little bit harder to find naturopathic doctors and a massage
yes.
therapist. So I had connected shortly after moving with the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. And just on a personal level, it was so nice to have that resource. So I see
Well,
it from the personal level, the business side, all aspects that you've discussed today. I just want to say thank you for everything.
thank you. It's nice to hear that. And I don't always, I don't always hear when you're the boss, you hear the complaints. That's what, oh, what about this? What about, oh, you should add that, right? Um, that's so it's really lovely hearing that. And especially, yeah, there are some communities like Seattle that, you walk out your front door and you
Yes.
can find somebody who is in the tribe. And then there are other communities where you're like, hello. Um,
Exactly.
and that is part of the appeal. So safe space. We also, for the holistically aligned community, oh, I can go to the Holistic Chamber of Commerce and it's still going to be okay. When my neighbors hear that I'm a member of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, they will take me more seriously, even though they know I do, some esoteric technique. There you go, esoteric.
I love it.
So thank you.
Barry, did you have something you wanted to say?
We can trust Barry to
look.
say something and bring something. Love you, Barry,
Show
exactly
up.
for this reason. He shows
Well,
up,
All the
you know, when
time.
you were talking, I was eating before. I was hungry, so so I had my camera off. You know, when you're talking about expansion and getting into all 50 states and then expanding into Mexico and more in Canada, it triggered a thought. When I was in engineering, I was in several professional organizations. And one of them was the American Society of Civil Engineers. And they had programs to they had programs to get visibility for the profession. And what was driving it was there was a pretty significant drop off in college students studying our branches of engineering. And you know what happens when you don't have engineers to design buildings and bridges and roads and sewers and water treatment plants? Well, they start to deteriorate and you don't get new ones, and then the whole infrastructure falls apart. So they had a program and they were focused on middle school and like ninth and 10th grade, early high school, to get the kids interested in the science aspect of it, to take the classes in high school so they could qualify for the classes in college. And so there was a program that the organization put together that talked about the profession and talked about a little bit about the organization. And then each individual would talk a little bit about what he did. Like I did geotechnical engineering, and landslide repair and preventing landslides is part of that. And in Southern California, that's a big deal. So,
Understatement of the
the,
year.
the bridge engineers would talk about, bridge design, and some of these, you see these really weird looking bridges, and are they safe or not? So the thought occurred that, with time, maybe generating a half an hour presentation that we could either do Zooms or take to, now, schools wouldn't be the appropriate, but, another chamber of commerce or a senior living community that has,
Yes.
presentations on a regular basis. We could find a bazillion organizations, churches, Rotaries, Kiwanis.
Yes, absolutely. So, something that we have talked about in the past, and we have not, as an organization, have not really figured out the best path forward, is a speakers bureau.
That was
Now,
another
right,
that was another
so
thing that
which
they,
would be
yeah.
a great way to go, uh, just between you, me, and the wall. Of course, this is going to be a recording that we share, but we've all seen people who are great at what they do and passionate about what they do, and they're not necessarily a good speaker,
Mhm.
right? Their presentation skills are great in some circumstances, maybe one-on-one or maybe in a small group. But when you put together a speakers bureau, you're also saying, we can send a speaker to the to the local police department,
Mhm.
to a group of first responders. Talk about a group that might do well to have more access to holistic technique. Here, breathe in this essential oil, right?
Mhm.
So I do think that that is a brilliant idea, and it's a great reminder that that is something that we want to continue looking at and developing. It is certainly when we are saying yes to a group leader like Karen, right? It is something that we look at.
Mhm.
Now, we do say yes to group leaders who are great with small groups, but wouldn't necessarily be a good fit for a speakers bureau that's going out to, again, first responders, or some other types of, a corporate speaker who's going
Mhm.
to do well in front of a group of holistically aligned professionals would not necessarily do well to put on a suit and go to corporate regional headquarters and speak in front of, that organization. So it is partially looking at how do we define our speakers bureau? How do we set it up in a way that
Mhm.
allows us to curate and really match to speaker, to the opening, to the opportunity, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it
And
is a great idea. I'm also involved with the American Institute of Architects, and so similar organization to the
right.
civil
Right.
engineers, and it's they are also reaching out to younger people. I do think that we could probably start especially local groups, like see what your local community college is doing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because I would bet there are some opportunities. Also, um, go to meetup.com, see which organizations or which groups are showing up on meetup.com. Now, a lot of the professional organizations, like the Rotaries and the Kiwanis and the uh, Toastmasters, right? They're not actually on Meetup, but you can find them
Right.
because they're
Right.
all on Google and they're findable. And I do think you could look up some professional trade organizations and
Mhm.
find ways to tap into some of them,
Yeah. And
you know.
most organizations that have monthly or weekly meetings are always looking for speakers.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Oh, I bet it's been a long time since I've been involved with HR departments, but I do know that there are some human relations, right?
Mhm.
HR department professional organizations that are having speakers and, get connected,
Yeah.
might find that they would say yes. And guess what, boys and girls? They would say yes because you are coming through the Holistic Chamber of Commerce,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
That is a strong brand and umbrella for
Right.
who we are and what we do.
Right. And, like or hate our current administration, like or hate Robert Kennedy, what he's doing for our profession is great. Now, I don't agree with everything he's doing, but he's certainly headed in the right direction. And so that makes it easier for us to get visibility, I think.
So
And
I would say that some of the topics, so the good news is some of the topics that have really risen to the right, that have really come up have been good for the holistic
Mhm.
overarching theme.
Right.
The challenge of it is it has been tied to a specific administration. So it's simply when you're in a conversation,
Mhm.
pulling it away from that
Right.
Yeah.
political focus to the good
Yeah.
news is people are talking about health and wellness. The good news is
Yeah.
people are talking about what is nutrition, what is good for our bodies,
Right.
right? Um, and we do get to participate now. We get to frame our comments. We get to frame what we are saying. We get to share our perspective. And, I think by the
And
right, conversations can be messy. It's okay. But if you want people to take you seriously and say yes and sign up for your stuff, I highly recommend just focusing on the good that your products and services do
right.
and
And
staying out of the fray, stay out of the fray of
yeah.
all that.
And just having the whole holistic environment, top of mind. On last Saturday, some members of our church got together to cook and take chili to all of the first responders in Clarendon County. We went to eight fire stations and I think two police stations.
Oh, nice.
And I just happened to meet a fire brigade leader and have a conversation with him. And we talked, what do you do? What do you do? And I told him, and I said, if you would be interested, I'd like to have a conversation with you about doing some training for all of your first responders to help with anxiety or PTSD. Or I said, you guys are exposed to toxins all the time. And I can, give you some direction on how to detox, without going to a doctor and some, huge, expensive program. And he said, absolutely, I'd love that. So and this is the county fire department, not just, one city. So we just got to be, aggressive is assertive,
Mhm.
let it be known what we're doing because people are interested when you present it from an education standpoint.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think people are curious and they are exploring.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's just being available, being open, listening to what people are saying.
I think
And,
it's wonderful. Camila, I want to, if nobody else has any questions, I just kind of want to wrap it up and say how much I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us and let potential members and our existing members see the heart and the
Thank
in
you.
service that comes
Thank
from
you.
this. So thank you. Thank you very much. Karen, I'll just swing it back to you so you can close it all up.
Yeah, thank you. Camille, I really appreciate it. You are such a joy to talk to. And it was great for people, hey, a lot of people don't even know you. So it was great that you were able to come on and let people hear you and talk about the chamber and where we're headed and what the vision is and what it takes to help us grow and what we can do to help support the greater chamber as well. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you. It was so nice being here, and I look forward to you know, getting the video, the replay, and
Yes,
you know,
Good.
I'll send
guys
that
rock.
over. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for your time. And I know it's right at 8 o'clock and we went the full hour. And sometimes we think we're not going to, and we do. It's just great topics, and great conversations around this. So
It
thank
is.
you, everybody. And we will send the recording out as well.
We'll see you next time.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you,
Good
Camille.
night.
Thank you,
Bye-bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.